What's warm, soft, water repellent, and as an added bonus, hypoallergenic? Something made of alpaca yarn. Similar to sheep's wool, it's smoother due to the scale structure of the individual fibers, and it doesn't contain lanolin, a natural wax in sheep's wool to which some people are allergic. Alpacas come in 22 different colors, ranging from pure white through various shades of beiges, browns, and grays to pure black. Breeders shear their alpacas and sell the fleece, or send it to mills for processing into yarn. White fleece is in greatest demand, and it can be dyed any number of colors. Before sending out the fleece, the breeders pull off hay, leaves, and other stuck-on vegetation. When the fleece arrives at the mill, it undergoes repeated washes with natural soaps until it's pristine. After the fleece air dries, a conveyor belt feeds it into the picker. The machine's toothed drum pulls apart the clumps, a process called opening the fibers. The drum then shoots those fibers into a compartment called the picker closet. Once all the fleece has been opened, they turn off the machine and spray the fluffy fibers thoroughly with a blend of conditioners. These conditioners are left to absorb overnight to reduce static electricity the next step generates. The fiber separator combs the fibers with a series of fine-toothed rollers. This simultaneously straightens the fibers and separates them by grade. The first set of rollers removes any remaining bits of vegetation, while the second set removes coarse fibers, so that only very fine fibers exit the machine. The next step is to divide these fine fibers into bundles of equal weight. The set weight varies according to the grade of fiber that the next machine, the carder, will be processing. A fine fiber requires heavier bundles. The conveyor belt feeding the carder is marked in sections. They place one bundle in each section. This steady, even input ensures that the machine produces a consistent output. Inside the carder, a series of combs spreads the fibers over a drum, aligning them parallel to each other. This produces a thin, flat layer of fine fiber called web. Web can be stacked in several layers to make batting, the stuffing material in quilts and duvets. Batting can be further processed into felt. Web can also be processed into roving, a long, thick stream of fiber which craftspeople hand spin into yarn, or which high-speed machines here at the mill spin into store-bought yarn. The roving deck on the carder compresses the web into a stream while rotating it to hold the aligned fibers in the snake-like shape. To make what's known as woolen yarn, the roving goes directly to the spinner. However, to make what's called semi-worsted yarn, this machine, called a draw frame, must first combine two or more rovings into a consistent stream called a sliver. The thinner the yarn, the more often the rovings pass through the draw frame. Finally, several slivers simultaneously enter the spinner, which twists each one separately through a combination of pressure and speed. The next machine, called the plier, then forms the yarn by twisting multiple singles together in the opposite direction. Twisting two singles, for example, makes a two-ply yarn. The mill produces different weights of yarn from lace to bulky by varying the volume of fiber per ply as well as the spinning speed. They mount the spools of finished yarn on the skein winder. A skein is a bundle of yarn that's first wound, then twisted. They set the machine to wind a specific length of yarn. When it stops, they tie the skein on two ends and remove it. Then they dye the yarn or leave it its natural color. Some mills dye their fleece after washing prior to processing it into yarn. The final step is to hand twist the skein. They also wind yarn into balls and cones. Warm and water repellent, this silky smooth alpaca yarn is all set to be knit or woven into a cozy woolen.